Hey, MSPs, imagine this. 4 days from now, you could have 20 leads sitting in your inbox, all because of one simple change you did to the way that you ran webinars. Now, this might sound a little bit, I don't know, non-believable. I'm going to show you exactly how in this video. Most MSPs that I speak to already know that webinars are one of the best ways to build authority and book sales appointments in the diary. But here's the thing. You post it on LinkedIn, you email your list, and hardly anyone registers. And the ones that do often don't even turn up. I have been here myself. The first webinar, I don't even want to talk about it. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact 4-step process to fix that. It's the same process that you can use to get 20 leads in 4 days. Fill your webinar and turn those attendees into proper sales conversations. We're going to cover 4 things. First, how to set up Teams. Just using Teams is simple. You've already got this. And the second thing is paid ads. We're going to get paid ads to the heavy lifting. You don't need to spend a bomb, but it's going to outperform organic. And then the third thing is like how we actually get people to show up with a reminder sequence that works. And finally, we put all those together, automate it. I'm going to show you how you can run it in the back end so you can deliver a solid session and you can get on with your real business. Let's get stuck in. Okay, so this is the four steps that we're going to be covering in this video, and I'm going to take you from the actual basics to the detail in it. The first one is fairly straightforward. There's a few things that we do need to get right for it, and that's actually setting up the webinar. The tool of choice for this is going to be Microsoft Teams, just because I'm assuming it's MSPs that are watching this. Second step is actually building the ads that are centered around webinar registrations. So I'm going to show you the best types of ads that actually lead to people registering for your webinar. This will outperform any type of organic type social posts that you might be doing. It's not worth the time doing any organic. I've found that they just don't go anywhere to maybe get 1 or 2 registrations from that. You really need to pay to play now. Third piece is, okay, we got the registrants, and we've got people that say they're going to be coming to the webinar. It's a completely different story to actually get them to come to the webinar once they've signed up. So I'm going to show you some of the steps that I put in place to make sure that the registrants actually turn up to the webinar and attend the webinar. And then the fourth step is automating all of this. I'm going to show you the connections between all of these steps. So how we actually connect in the ads to the reminder sequence, how we build out the webinar landing page and to the reminder sequence, and also someone's just coming from the webinar, how they from that webinar landing page, how we can actually retarget them as well. So that's the 4 steps I'm going to cover. The CRM of choice that I'm going with at the moment is Go High Level. I can give you an account with this as part of IT Rockstars, our service here, or you can use Go High Level with Growably, which is part of the Tech Tribe. I know Growth Generators, Harrison's got High Level, and Chris Weiser's also got High Level in their programs. I'm not sure the pricing for all of those, but we include that as well. So that High Level, that's the CRM of choice for this, and that's the tool. The main reason for that, I've actually been a power user of ActiveCampaign for 7 years, but when it comes to High Level, there's some granularity that you don't really get in the other CRMs. So it's worth, even if it's just for the sole purpose of running these webinars, go High Level. Okay, so the first thing, we're going to actually set the webinar. So you have to do this in Microsoft Teams. So let me get to my Teams here. And the main thing I would say about the webinars from a timing perspective, you want to do it Tuesday round about lunchtime, okay? And the reason you want to set that date is purely because it gives you more time in the week to actually close the people that attended on the webinars, to follow up with those people. That's the main reason for it. Mondays, usually everyone's really busy on a Monday. Tuesday's the sweet spot. If you go a Wednesday or Thursday, it's not giving you enough time the rest of the week to follow up with the webinar attendees. So 12 o'clock, everyone's still perky, 12 o'clock, do it on the lunch hour. That would be my suggestion, of 12 o'clock noon. And if you do it in the afternoon, people are got less energy in the afternoon. So 12 o'clock on the Tuesday is the ideal time I found for webinars. The way that you create a webinar in Teams is just to drop down here. I'm the OWA version, the web version at the moment. and you create this option where it says webinar, and then you give your webinar a title, and give it a name, give it a description. We can use AI for this. Some things that I would suggest that you do, and I've got examples in IT Rockstars of this, is that you have a benefit-driven headline. That is basically, okay, this is a cool webinar topic you're going to be talking about, but what's the benefit of me coming to this? Actually having 3 bullets within the description that kind of describes what those benefits are, like what they're going to learn, why it's valuable that they actually come up to the webinar. I would suggest that. Other options within Teams, some little things that you should be aware of, and make sure you've got it set to public. And there's an option here to turn off the mic and the cameras for your webinar attendees. That's really down to personal preference. I would also turn off enable green room. This just makes it easier when you start the webinar. I was in a webinar 3 months ago, and if you have green room enabled, it's not always apparent if you've started the webinar or not. There's actually a button that says start webinar, and sometimes you can forget to press that, and you only realize when you're 17 minutes into the webinar. So I should turn the green room off, and it's just like a normal Teams meeting, but the attendees, everyone apart from yourself, is muted. They can still interact in the chat and stuff like that. And the other thing is probably the recording. So making sure that it's set to automatically record. I think that's an option here. You're recording the transcripts. Just make sure that's on. Again, it's just one less thing to remember when you're with the webinar, because if it's your first time doing one of these, the less technical stuff that gets in the way, the better. Okay. And that's pretty much it. When you go back, when you save this, you'll find that there'll be a new tab called Attendance. Let me see if I can find a past webinar just to show you what this looks like. 2 seconds here. And the attendance is where you can check to see, here it is here. So you can basically check to see who's actually registered for the webinar. This is not going to give you a 100% view of webinar attendance, who's registered, but it will give you, anyone that's went to the landing page, and you'll get an idea here. So you can see for this one, I had 4 registrants. I think that was just an internal one that we had, and hence the low volume in this. So that's the webinar. You actually set it up. Teams, I've suggested Teams. Now, the reason for this is it is really good access filter mechanism. Okay. When I've done this in the past with members, they're like, oh, what software should I use? Surely Zoom's better than Teams for webinars. Zoom does have a lot more functionality. You can integrate it better with your ads. You can track how people have come to the webinars. There is a lot more functionality with Zoom webinars. However, first webinar that you've done, potentially, this is the minimal viable process. Let's just use what we've already got without having to spend a vast sum of money. Also, the filter mechanism. So more than likely, the types of people that you're trying to attract into your webinar are going to be on Microsoft 365. You want customers that are maybe already in the M365 ecosystem as an MSP. So this actually acts as a really good filter mechanism. So if there's businesses out there or individuals out there that don't have Microsoft Teams, we don't really necessarily want them anyway. And that's why I suggest Teams. It's a good filter mechanism. And the second step in this is setting up our ads. So if we go back here, we can score off, we've set up the webinar, we can score that one off. And then we're actually building the ads and retargeting. Now we're going to be setting up 2 separate campaigns for this. First campaign is going to be lead gen ads on the Meta platform. The second campaign is going to be for retargeting. So this is actually probably where the biggest amount of work actually is in setting these up. Luckily for me, I already have assets in place, like creatives in place for webinars. So this is really straightforward for me. I just need to go and show you how this actually works. Now, a lot of MSPs that I speak to, I tell them that I use Meta. I don't use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is much more expensive. And to tell you the truth, the AI and machine learning in LinkedIn is nowhere. It doesn't touch on the Meta platform. You just get much better results with Meta, in my experience. Okay. The other thing with Meta is that you get like a 3-for-1. So you get Facebook, you get Instagram, and you get the Meta Audience Network. That's just like websites and lots of different places. So you get a 3-for-1. So I suggest Meta. We create a campaign in here, and we're going to choose lead gen campaign. I literally just I set it to manual. And we want to make sure that we give the campaign a name that makes sense so that when we're looking back at this, at the results over the last year, we can look and see different things fairly easy. So webinar, August week 1, 2025. That's when I'm going to be doing this webinar. And then we're going to set the budget at the ad set level. It doesn't really matter at this point because we could just have the one ad within it and leave the rest as defaults. Next bit, we just give it the same ad set name. And the conversion is going to be instant forms. That's what we want. That's basically where the form opens up within the timeline itself, and we can capture the lead details there. And then we can just trigger an automation to register them onto the webinar. And we want to convert, we want to make sure it's for maximum number of leads at this stage. Dynamic creative, we want to make sure that's on. Basically, dynamic creative allows you to put in 5 or 6, actually up to 10 different images in your ad, and Facebook will work out the best image, which one's getting the most clicks. Same with the copy. You can put up to 10 variations of copy, and Meta or Facebook will work out the best clicks. We're going to be using the 3-2-2 method for the dynamic creative. That's basically, we have 3 images, 2 sets of ad copy, and 2 calls to action. And then based on those combinations, Meta works out the best, the winning creative. Budget, my budget's £40 per day. This will vary accordingly depending on what you've got to spend. Start date, I always start at the day after that we set the webinar. So I actually start at 12 midnight. It just means that I'm getting like a fresh start for that day. And the end date is going to be half an hour or an hour before the actual webinar itself. So we can do here, I'm going to be until Tuesday at 6 p.m. and that's when the ads will stop running. And I think that's it. There's obviously location as well. This is going to vary depending on where your MSP is doing. For particular IT rock stars, we do UK, US, Australia, and Canada. Actually, you know what? Not Australia. That's work because the time zones for the webinar. So we'll just choose those 3, and we leave the others as default. So Advantage Plus audience, the way this works basically. Back in the olden days of Facebook advertising, you would actually have to put in like audience interests. So you might try and target a local area and target Facebook admins or business owners. It doesn't work like that anymore. You basically, the way it works now is Facebook will work out the targeting for us. It does it all through machine learning. And placements as well, that's basically where you can set where your ad actually appears in on the timeline, or if it's appearing up to the side in the right hand side, or if it's appearing in the search or Messenger. You leave Meta to work that out. The next thing here is the actual ad itself. So I'm just going to give it the same name again. And we've got it set up as set up multi-advertisers ad. Your ads appear alongside ads. That's fine. And then we want to go and set out our images. The one thing I would suggest with images, try and make them yourself if you can. Don't use AI. It's fairly obvious when it's AI. And yeah, you want to try 3 varying different images. One thing that you might want to try is a website called 99 Designs. They have, and basically it's like a design contest that you run, and 99 Designs will run the contest, and you get back basically lots of different designers. So you can see here, I think it's like costs like $40, and you get lots of different designs. So this was one of the designs that we got. Let me try and show you all of the designs. Right. Yeah, 15 designers we got back, cost at $40. So we had all these different designs, and then I chose the winning design. So this is always worth doing it as well as making maybe your own. I'm not like a graphics person, so I'm not going to go into the details on this that much. That's a little handy tip. Let's load up our images. So to upload them here, I've got 3 I'm going to be working with. All slightly different variations. I don't really need to go into the actual what they look like with you. There's an image of my face. The pattern interrupts. And there's a meme as well. Okay. The primary text of the copy. And you want to basically, for the copy, the way that I suggest you do this is you call out exactly who you want to attend in the webinar. So if you're looking for local business owners, mention the region or the location, and then the word business owners at the very start of the copy. This is what is known as dog whistle copy. So basically, local business owners, if they're not a local business owner, they're going to continue to scroll up and they're going to ignore your ad. That's what you want. You want to get a filter in the copy so that people are attracted that are your ideal client, and the ones that are not your ideal client are just going to be repelled by the ad. This is going to help the machine work out to show your ad to as well. I'm not going to go against copy hacks, but that's the main one that you should be aware of. You also want to, again, mention benefits of the webinar, why they should attend, what they're going to get out of it. And then obviously the time and the date as well are important. Other sentence here, we've now got our copy in place. We want to make sure you've got two headlines as well. I've got a filter headline here and also just something a little bit different on what's happening. I don't do any other sort of formatting like a description. We don't need a display link either. And we just have basically the call to action. This is the call to action. And then we're going to use the instant forms. I've already got one from May. I'm literally just going to go and create a copy of this. And then I'm going to edit the form itself with the time and the date of the webinar. So we'll call this August 25, and we want more volume. Sharing settings, only people who are delivered your ad directly can submit this form. Yeah, we want to keep that on. And that's the form type. And the intro itself, this is where we actually give a little bit more detail on the webinar that we're going to be giving people what we're going to be delivering. And for me, I obviously work across time zones, so I need to make sure that I have the time zones in place here, and I've got it set. Because I'm advertising in the UK, I'm going to have to put in a UK time as well. I think it's 6:30 that we're starting here. There we go. So I'll change the date as well. So scheduled for, what day was that again? August 3rd, was it? August 5th. Let's put the day actually. Tuesday, 5th of August. And again, it's just, we need to just include these details. It's like common sense that we include them. And we just mention what actually happens and once they sign up. So we're actually going to send them an MS Teams invite. And we're we want to make sure the title is correct as well. Yes. So all these goods. And the questions, I think it's 3 questions that I've got. So I ask for their full name. I ask for their work email, and I make this mandatory. And the reason that I do that is because we need at least their email to send them a reminder, and then their phone number as well. And this is actually another filter mechanism. People are probably not wanting to give out their phone number, but I actually detail here, I'm going to send you an SMS reminder before the webinar starts. That's the only reason that we're giving out the phone number. We're asking for the phone number. And that really, for my sales process, I'm not actually going to be phoning these people up. But there's nothing to say you couldn't call them up after the webinar and ask them for a little bit of feedback. Privacy policy, hopefully your website has one of these. You link to the privacy policy on your website, and then the ending. We just basically say that you're all set. Please check your email for the webinar. What I'm going to start doing these is actually sending them to YouTube, to my YouTube channel. Just so I can get the subscriber count up there. We should always try and have a follow-up action when someone submits a form. So have a think about that from your MSP's perspective. Where would you like to send them after they've submitted the form? They're probably going to go and check their email out though as well. Okay, so that's the form created. And I believe that's it. We can just you can actually have a look at the form here as well. There's like a little ad preview window so you can go through it. But I've got, that's it. We've got a campaign scored 97. So that's like a score that Facebook gives you basically to say how well your ad's going to work. If there's anything you can do to improve it, we get 97. And there's been very minimal work done on this. I have obviously went through this process like 100 times by now. So it's a lot easier for me. And we're just going to hit publish. And there we go. So that's our first campaign. The second campaign that we also want to run is a retargeting campaign. I won't spend too much time in this, but basically you can build out on Meta platform. It's called like a warm audience. So it's people that have been to your website, people that have interacted with your ads, people that have interacted with any posts that you've done on Facebook or Instagram. are people that would be been to like your Facebook page or your Instagram page. You can build out a warm audience. So there's a section called audiences here, and where you can actually specify that warm audience, and you can have it like a 30-day audience. So it starts to grow over those 30 days, and it's always constantly getting refreshed. But what you can do with that audience, it's called a retargeting audience, is that you can retarget them with further ads. So they maybe signed up to the webinar, but then you want to maybe introduce them to yourself and your IT business. This is the perfect opportunity to do that. You can set up the retargeting ads. What I suggest for retargeting is purely videos. Now, what I do with my webinars is I record the webinars and I put them through a tool called Opus Clip. And the Opus Clip basically generates shorts based on my long form videos. If I go into here, you can see like this was one of my latest long form videos, and it's generated all of these shorts. So I actually use the CRM Go High Level to post all of these shorts out automatically to a reel on Facebook, to my Instagram, it goes to my TikTok, it goes to YouTube Shorts as well. And let me just show you what that looks like. And this is organic. This isn't paid. Let me go to the IT Rockstars instance on Go High Level here, and then marketing, and then social planner. So you can see here all of the scheduled posts and the ones that we've done earlier this week. And these get sent to multiple platforms. Facebook and Instagram are on these platforms as well. So if we look at, for example, the IT Rockstars Facebook page and what that timeline looks like, you can see I've got all of these reels that are here. And there is some organic views on them, not a lot. But what I can do with these, and over time, what I can do is I can see which ones are performing the best, and then I can use them for my retargeting ads. So we go back to the ads manager and we want to create a new campaign. Let me get to the right bit. Deselect this, create a new campaign, and we want to call it just engagement this time. We just want people to interact with the ads. The great thing about retargeting is you can be in people's faces, but you can set how often you're in their face. There's a stat in the ads called frequency. So you can appear maybe twice a day in the user's timeline. I've seen this creep up to 7 when I've applied too much of a budget to the ads. So like literally I can spend maybe $3 a day and I can appear on all of that retargeting audience's timeline two times a day, which is perfect. So you want that balance of frequency. So again, we're just going to set that to manual for the ad setup. Call this August, retarget week 1. That's the campaign name. Default's on here. Next, and then the ad set name is going to be the same. And we want the conversion event. Actually, we don't want a conversion event. It's just views that we want. Performance goal. If I set the right type of ad. Yeah, campaign objective, engagement. That's correct. Because usually it's just video views that I have a performance goal. Weird. It's different. I'm not sure why that's changed, because that used to just be video views. Let's see here. I hover over here. Get more messages, purchases through messages, video views. Yeah, it's still there. So is it maybe another setting? No. Don't see any other settings here. I'm obviously missing a step here. Engagement goals. Annoying. They've changed this. This is one of the things with Facebook and Meta. They are constantly changing the platform. I don't actually want any conversion event to happen on the website. Well, we do. Let's just do a little search for see conversion event view. See what comes back with. Your video conversion might not be visible to Meta due to several reasons, including attribution, ad delivery time, and the type of event being tracked. No way. I just don't understand. Well, what I'll do for the example of this video anyway is select lead for some reason. Really annoying. But I'll run through the ad just to show you how it works. As I mentioned, I spend $5 a day. It's about £3 UK. And you don't want dynamic creative on for this one because we're literally just going to be using the existing organic posts that we have. So we just leave everything like this. We click next. I'm going to give this the same name. But this is going to be ad one. There's going to be like 6 or 7 different ads in this ad set. I don't use threads, so I'm going to bother with that. And then there's this option here, use existing post. And this is where we can select our organic posts. And you can go into the Meta Business Manager and you can see basically the best performing videos in there. And then you can choose them here. I'm just going to go with my most recent ones because I haven't run ads in about a month. So I'm just going to go with that. And yeah, it's asking for text, a call to action button. You would send them to your website. And that's pretty much it. Just hit publish. And then what we do after that is we go back to the ad set. No, we stay in the ad tab, but we hit duplicate. And we just hit duplicate. That's going to create the same ad again, but we change out the post. So use existing post, change post, and then we choose the next one and hit continue and publish. And we do that another 5 or 6 times. So duplicate, change post, choose another one, publish. And as you see, it repeats there. And then that's our ads set up at this stage. So let's look back at what we've got to do as our next task. So we've done the ads and targeting. Next, we have to generate our reminders in our CRM of choice. So I'll cheat a little bit for here. So I'm going back to high level. You can do this in another CRM. I like high level though, as I mentioned, mainly because you get the SMS integration as well as the email integration and just the integrations from the Meta ad lead platform. They just work really well. The way this works is we're going to go to automations here. And I have obviously run webinars in the past. So I have some webinars that I've already set up. So I'm going to just take this one here and then I'm going to just duplicate it. Duplicate workflow. August 25, week 1. And I'll show you what this automation actually looks like. I'll go through it with you. And I think if you're an IT Rockstars member, I can actually share this automation with you so like you don't have to build it for yourself. You'd obviously have to edit the copy. We can unpublish last month's webinar. We don't need that one to be, we can just turn that one off now. Draft. And then we can click in here. And the way this works is the automation gets triggered by Facebook lead form when it's submitted. So we've got here all of our settings, but we need to change the form because we've obviously just created a new form and we don't want any. We want the latest one, which is this one here. So the integration is definitely working because it's refreshed with the latest form. Just save the trigger. So what happens is when the user sees the ad and they actually register via the ad on the lead gen ad, their details, their email address, their cell number, and their name get pulled through into Go High Level, and it creates a new contact. And then we actually can tag that contact as well via this automation. So we trigger it, we add the tag here, and the tag that I'm going to do for this one, create a new one. I should really come up with a better naming convention than this kind of long tag name, but easy to find. And then we add tags. So the tag is, and this just allows us basically after the webinar, if we want to follow up with these people, it allows us to easily sort who's actually registered onto the webinar. Unfortunately, at this time, it doesn't track attendance. There's a lot of manual step involved where you have to download the attendee list from Teams to the people that actually attended the webinar. There's a report that gets generated to tell you how long they stay there for, but this is a step nevertheless. So we add the tag, that contact, we update the contacts field. We update the contacts field. I've got basically in here is a custom field. against the contact called the webinar date. So the specific date for this webinar is, we put it in here, it's August 5th. And then we want to save that. And then the SMS gets triggered. And what the SMS says, thanks for registering onto the IT Business Group webinar. I've sent you a calendar invite via email, which I'll show you in the next step. And then this will be a text you reminder on the day. Okay, this is very simple. That's all it is. And this is the email that we send, that I send, sorry. So subject webinar, one word subject. And then I've got here where I actually send them a calendar invite from Teams. Like I've got a Power App Flow that does this. And I have it set up for Zapier in the background. But for the purposes of you guys watching this is your first one that you've done, just do this. It's going to be easier for you. Power Automate Flow that triggers and puts the contact, ingests the contact into the Teams webinar. It's quite difficult. So this is just an easier option. And we had to have this add to calendar. And let me find this in my bookmarks and I'll show you what this looks like. If I can find it. A calendar event. Here we go. Create event. Log in. Just logging in. So if I need to change it at any point, I can. And then we're going to create a new event here. And this basically allows us to embed the calendar links in the email. So we're going to give this event the same name as what we've actually got for the webinar. In this case, it's my AOI MSP class of 2025. I'll just put this LT Business People webinar on time in here, Tuesday, 6:30. Pretty sharp, man. Let me just double check. Is it 6:30? It is. 6:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. That's fine. Location. This is where we have to go into Microsoft Teams. This is a little tip for you. I think I forgot to say this at the start. Can't remember. Go into your Outlook and get the link to the Teams meeting from Outlook desktop client. You can't do this through OWA. I use OWA for quite a lot of stuff, but this is the one thing I can't do it in. And this is like I have to find this out the hard way. You go to the event and copy the link here, and then we can paste the link in the location here. All right, I think that's it. Create event. And then we get this nice little set here. I'm going to make it just text. Let's see, how do I do that? That's what I want. Copy that. Paste it into the email. And then save that action. So we also need to, I should probably have a set event start time. I should have that up next to the set event start date, but I don't. That's already correct. So we have to worry about that. 6:30 p.m. And then there's basically a wait here. So it's like wait to one day before the webinar. And then at that 1 day mark, so 24 hours, we send another email. I'm going to change this email address. A new one. And associated with Go High Level. New product that's in development. Maybe you'll get to find out about this at some point. Sign up for IT Rockstars. MSPdo.com. Yeah, just make sure you got that set. So yeah, we wait the 1 hour. We send them the other email, and it's basically just say, hey, remember you've got this webinar. Here's the Teams link. So I need to change that Teams link again. Hit the link. If you were really smart about this, if you're like advanced cool eye level and you're doing these all the time, you could actually have this as a custom value or a dynamic value in, I think that's the right terminology, in Go High Level. So you don't actually have to swap out the URL in all of these emails. And you just have to put it in once. I think it's somewhere in the settings you can do. So we send them an email and then we wait to basically, I think there's an hour one before. Was that the hour one? Yeah, that's the 1 hour one. That's where we have the Teams link, isn't it? We're just done. Yeah, here's the Teams link. So 1 hour before, here's the Teams link. Then we wait to 10 minutes before. We send them an SMS at this point saying, again, here's the Teams link. And we're going live in 10 minutes. save action, and then another email with the link, just in case they didn't see it. And this really does help with webinar attendance, hitting them up on the SMS and the email. You probably get around about 25% attendance on your webinars. So if you get 200 people or 100 people registered, you'll get 25 people will actually turn up. That's a good number. So just be aware of that number, because when you start doing this, you think, oh, great, there's 100 people that have signed up to the webinar. And then only, I don't know, could even be 20 people that actually attend. It can be slightly disheartening. Big question though that I always ask is, okay, you've maybe spent, I don't know, $400 to get people 20 to attend your webinar, that your ideal types of prospects. If you were sat in a room with 20 people that are prospects, how much are you prepared to pay for that? Then that usually justifies the cost. And then the final email here, we've got that one, the 10-minute one. So we're all ready at this stage. We can hit save, and I think we're good to go with that. So that's the automation now in place for the reminder sequence. So we generated the reminders. So we've done that, and then we've automated it. We've done that as well. I think the one thing that you should be aware of, this was the game changer for me. I haven't managed to productize this yet though. It's through Power Automate. Let me just show you. This is another automation. So what we've got at the moment, let me sign in here, my flows. What we've got at the moment in our webinar is, we've got Facebook, okay, or meta ads. They basically get integrated into Go High Level, GHL. That's what we've got working at the moment on our integrations. And you can check out and Go High Level. I go back to the settings here under integrations. We've got that one here. So it's all synced up for me. It's active. I'll check the settings as well. It's all ready to go. And that is obviously linked to this automation that we've just published. So when someone fills out form, this particular form, then it basically takes the details, tags the contact, and then starts the reminder sequence. So that's what we built just now. But if you think of this from the user perspective, they'll get the emails to their inbox and they'll get a text message to remind them about the webinar. The other thing though, and a lot of people are like this in business, is they live by their calendar. So their calendar is like what they live by. And ideally, when they register via the Facebook lead gen ad, you want to send them the calendar invite automatically. And this is something that I've always seen as a bit of a friction point with all the event platforms, like Eventbrite, or if you're registering onto a conference, it always tells you to download the calendar file here. And then you have to manually go and put it into your calendar. So that's like a friction point, which we don't really want. So what I've done with Power Automate is I've got these two flows. So the first flow basically listens to my calendar and it looks for a specific word that I include in all my webinars. It's like a little brackets that says MSPs only. I forgot to do it with this one. I probably need to do it with this one. But if that happens, it updates a dynamic number in a SharePoint list. And then this workflow here, this flow, it actually ends. Let me show you what it looks like. I had to get someone to code this for me because I just couldn't get my head around it. I had no idea how it worked. Okay, let's edit. I can't even view it. Edit. So this basically it uses the MS graph because this is the only way I could figure out how to do this. It looks at for the Teams meeting in my tenant. It takes the team ID that we generated from the last flow, where I have that custom value. And then it goes and takes via a Zapier connection. We fire an email into my inbox with the contact's email address. And then this flow adds that contact's email address into the Teams meeting as an invite. So they get sent out a regular Teams invite. It's complicated. If you want to, you can get this as part IT Rockstars. because I think I can share these flows. Again, it reduces these friction points. So there's a user on their Facebook timeline or their Instagram timeline. They see the webinar, they click the button. They only have to click once. They see the form. They click next on the first intro form, and it has the fields for the questions. Give them your name, email address, and your phone number. Those are auto-populated. Facebook actually auto-populates them, and then they just have to click through the form and hit submit. And then all those triggers happen in the background. So they get emails, they get SMSs, and they get the calendar invite to their calendar as well. It gets put in their calendar where they have to accept or decline. These all raise the chances that someone's actually going to attend the webinar. And we want people to attend the webinar because we can start to build the relationship. And as we know, relationships is what matters for MSPs, not leads. The more relationships that you can have with your clients or prospects and your local network, the more chance you are of getting business. So that is the steps that we have in place. And that's what we're going to cover here. If you want to see the results from this, follow along to the channel. Also, we've got a group down in the description. Check it out. I help with stuff like this. So if you get stuck with it, you can go into the group and you can get all the information on this. Anyway, take it easy. See you in the next one.